Hi everybody, today we are in sunny Bexley Heath in South London. One of our lovely subscribers emailed me because he's got a problem with a box gutter on the side of his house. So here we are. Without further ado, let's go and check out what the problem is. Walk this way. So this is the route to work today. This is where the problem lies. This is a lead box gutter, and they have laid one whole row of lead all the way through with no joints. And then where the lead ran out there, they've started a new run and just felted it. So this is just lapped. Bit of lead. Obviously you can't just lap the lead when it's flat because the water will run underneath. So they've just stuck a bit of torch on felt there. And if we come around this way, here we go. Usual problem where it's a massive long length of lead. Over length, the lead has expanded and contracted and made a massive split. And that's where the water's pouring in. And you've got moss and stuff starting to grow, so it's been a while. So we're going to rip this out, take these bottom tiles out and put a nice new one in. It's obviously got to remain flat, so what we're going to do is weld in some lead expansion joints, which I'll show you in a minute. We need to get on with it because today's dry, but tomorrow is 100% rain. So I need to get this box gutter in as quickly as I can. Well, definitely by this evening. And any bits that are left I need to make watertight for tomorrow, and then I'll come back the day after if needed. So we only need to take, hopefully, this one off. Maybe that one. In one. Everyone remember Bullseye? The old darts game? Right, that's as much of this hip that we need to take off, because we only need to take these bottom course of tiles out to get the lead out. So they can just sit happily there for now. Then I'll just put them back later, maybe with a bit of felt underneath just to weather it for this evening. Well, probably until Wednesday. It's currently Monday. Right, now start stripping the tiles. So we're going to take this bottom course of tiles out so we can cut the lead out. That's why I take the end off, because them ones were cemented in. Normally you can just push these up like that. Oh, they won't go far enough. Generally you can push them up and then just lift these out. Again, these are interlocking tiles, so they've got that small water channel on the side and they just sit like that next to each other. And that small channel is what stops the water coming in. It's got a tiny lip on it, you can probably see that there. And they lock together. And they're probably the most cost-effective way of tiling a roof nowadays, because you don't need to like bond them like bricks. So the normal tile would have to bond it like that, so the joint's in the middle. Whereas these, you can just lock them together, so the coverage is much better. Right, I'm going to strip it out halfway, get the first two bits of lead in, and then work on the other half. In case it rains, I can always quickly felt a little patch over the joint. Let's go for it.
They come out as easy as that. Just quickly, spoke to Henry, and he said he had this built as a extension, and no one has been up here and done any repairs or anything since the builder did the work. So those felt patches, which look like there's been trouble before and someone's done a repair, are actually like the original installation when these guys done it new. So I don't know how much they charged him or whatever, but they've just laid the lead in flat and put a couple of bits of felt over the joints, which is obviously not going to last long at all. And also the coping stone is completely flush with the wall. This is a separate issue we need to sort out afterwards, and it's the same on the outside. So the whole of that wall is getting soaked. We may have to cap this because we can't really knock these copings off without a scaffold. And if you look over, next door's garage has got an asbestos roof, so we can't really bridge across that, because if we make a hole in that, then I'll end up having to replace the whole roof, and you can't dump asbestos. It's got to be specially removed. Right, now the tyres are all pulled back, we've got our lead, which you can see is running a massive length. Also it comes under and up and then into the brick joint, all in one piece. So what I need to do, because we're not taking these off as I just explained, so what I'm going to do is cut this lead to make this a separate flashing, and then bring our box gutter up behind it and dress that lead down over how it should be. So you've got separate flashing in there and a separate gutter. Time to start cutting. So I'm having probably 100mm upstand, 4 inches on there. So obviously we need a bit of cover. So I'm going to cut this quite low, somewhere like that. Flap it up, put the lead under, dress it back down. Normally you just score a straight line and tear it, but obviously where it's up against the wall you can't get hold of anything. Once you've scored it, you can just generally tear it. And that is our leak. You can see how much water's going in there, or how white that is with the lead oxide. Just lift that out. I mean, you can even see there, that is wet. That's running underneath the lap. So all they've done is laid the lead on it and lapped it, which is obviously no good. Right, now we've basically got a flashing on the side. I'm going to do that all the way along. But I am also, when I come back for the second day to bed the ridges on, I'm going to cut these and put in a cover piece so that there's not an open joint, so that this lead flashing can also move, because at the moment obviously this is still in one long massive length. So yeah, that's when we come back the next time. But for now we're just going to get this gutter in, get it watertight before it rains tomorrow. This is the end of the gully, so you're supposed to have probably 150mm of lap so it doesn't suck back. We've got a bead of bathroom silicone and probably, what's that, an inch, and it's wet. Look,
So they've just masticed that onto there. Well, you can see where it's been leaking. Look, it's soaking wet on the back. And that was the actual builder that built this. Still, onwards and upwards. Cutting it into smaller sections because obviously it's easier to pick up. That blue sticker means code 4, which isn't even the right lead that you're supposed to use for box cutters. This is meant for flashings, really. We're obviously going to use code 5, but blue is code 4, red is code 5, so they've even used thinner lead. Another quick point, which is really annoying if you're building an extension and you want to go right up to this boundary. Normally you'd have a gutter like that, or in the UK anyway, catching the water, goes round to a downpipe. Sometimes, as you've seen, they block up. So if you're building an extension like Henry has, and it's right up to the boundary, the council wouldn't let him put a gutter there because they said he'd have to put his ladder in next door's property to clear the gutter. So this is what they said he had to have, a box gutter with a wall so you can access it from the front. I know I've got my ladder in their drive, but ideally ladder at the front, you can come up, clear out any blockages or whatever without going onto next door's property. Right, this is what we're using. The red band indicates code 5, which is what you should be using box gutters really. Code 5, you can lay 2 metre lengths. This is only 600 wide, so we can go 2 metres. Obviously the wider you go, you need to come a bit shorter. But yeah, so we're going to cut this down to 2 metres. It's 6 metres long, so that gives us 3 panels. We've ripped enough to get 2 in, so I'm just going to roll it out and cut it. So here we go. Oh, and it weighs 91 kilos, by the way, if you're wondering. So I'm just cutting this down to a 2 metre length. Obviously the floor's not ideal, but I'll make sure there's no stones or anything stuck on the back of the lead when I lay it. So we've got our first 2 lead panels up. There's no way to lay it out. So basically got it on the wall, bending it up by hand. And then just coming in with a dresser along that line. This side is the bit that goes up under the flashing against this wall. Right. Done the upstand, I've rolled this section over because we don't know really where we're going to sit, and it makes it easier to lift. I'm going to put it in, tuck it up behind the flashing, hopefully. That one's in, loosely laid in, it's not dressed down properly yet. I'm going to put this one in and then I'll show you the expansion joint that you weld. Obviously the end bit has all got to be dressed down and nice and neat and flat on the deck and everything, but just getting it in for now in case the weather changes. Right, get that dressed down and I'll show you the expansion joint. Okay, so now we've got the 2 panels in loosely. I've left, if you can see that, quite a big gap for expansion. And we're going to install this, which is a lead expansion joint. It's easier to show you than it is to explain. So you get a 3 metre roll and it
runs across there like that. It's going to run across the joint. So you've got lead bonded with rubber, and as the lead expands and contracts, I mean, it's not going to go like that, but you can see that the rubber will flex and not the lead. Whereas if the lead does that, that's what causes splits. So the rubber will flex as it expands and contracts. So I just need to cut this to the same width as this, run it across, and then weld it to each section. In effect, you'll have one long panel still, but with these rubber joints in between. So I'm going on top of that piece, underneath this piece. Just pull that like that, slide him in. Somewhere like that. Don't want to get too close to the rubber. Now we can weld that in position. Gives us a watertight joint, and it's flexible, so the lead, both panels can move. I'll just carry on doing that all the way through to the front. So when I do my welding, just get a clean but scrap bit of lead. Just cut some strips like that to make welding rods. Obviously I need a welding rod this long, so it's cutting down to manageable. Cut a few of these. It's got quite a bit of welding to do. Got my burner going. You can see that. That is very, very hot. Way hotter than the torching felt. So yeah, that's what we weld the lead with. You get different size nozzles for different metals, but the lead one's a 3mm nozzle. You can tell if you get the right mixture, because the welds come out really nice and shiny. If they come out like this, then it's too much oxygen. Could see as I was going up, I was getting quicker and quicker because the lead gets hotter and hotter. But yeah, that's that section done. Let's move on to this one. So this bit's all welded up. Going to put the bottles up that end, tile this back in, and then move on to the next couple of panels. We're getting there. Right, so we're just going to tile this back in as it was. get a few in. And drop the ones above in. Make sure they're sitting nice. That's the great thing about these tiles. They're so sturdy and easy to use. You can just push them up, do whatever you're doing, and slide them back in place. It's starting to get a bit chilly now. It's supposed to be a cold spell. Feels freezing. It's 6 degrees Celsius. In fact, let's have a competition. Who watching this video is in the coldest place of everybody else that's watching this video? I've got 6 degrees and I'm freezing. Obviously not actually freezing, but I feel cold. So yeah, let me know. Who's watching from the coldest climate? Start pulling these out. Here we go, another mystery. Obviously it's been leaking, as you can see. This half of the roof, they've used code 5, which is like the proper code lead. Still in too much of a long length, but maybe they bought the first roll with code 5 and then thought, well, that's a bit expensive, let's just get a cheaper one. Well bedded, well bedded. Same as before, bend this up. Over. Get that up and in. Right, sliding up a bit closer. Panel 3 in. We are getting there. Going to measure up the last panel before I do the expansions and just weld them both up together. It's only a short one. Yeah, let's see what we've got. £110cm. Good to go. So we need to try and slide that in and under. Oh, perfect. Something like that. Right, here we go. Last expansion to weld up. Try and get the flame right. That's all the expansion joints welded. I've got a little bit to do on each end, but I'm not going to do that tonight because I've obviously got to come back and put the ridges on. So for now, I'm just going to retile that back in and make sure we are watertight for tomorrow, because apparently 100% chance of rain. Those hips at the end there just got a bit of felt underneath, because I haven't had time to bed them, and it's going to rain tomorrow, so that's hopefully going to keep the water out. And then turn around this way, new expansion joint there, same again with those ridges at the end. So the next dry day I'll be back, and we've got another expansion joint there and another expansion joint here. Little short panel on the end, that still needs dressing down a bit, but like I say, it's getting late, so I need to get out of here before it gets too dark. We're back. It's day 2 at Henry's. I actually missed a day, couldn't come here yesterday because we had Storm Chandra, was it? And it's like mental rain, you know, the worst flooding they've had for 10 years where I live. Anyway, we're now back. Happy to report the whole box gutter is fine. Not one drop's come in, even with the sort of temporary weathering on the ridges. Gonna dress that in, plug it up, and away we go. Last job is bed these 2 ridges and those 2 down the front back in place. All the ridges now, if you're replacing your roof, have to be mechanically fixed. So you might have seen like the dry ridge system with like the plastic, instead of pointing, it's got like this plastic brackets. I'll probably be doing one soon, so I'll show you. And then a screw, but you can actually bed them and then put a big screw in with a stainless steel washer in the joint, as long as it goes onto both ridges. Obviously we get a lot of storms and high winds and stuff, and there's so many claims people with their ridges have blown off and smashed next door's car and all that sort of stuff. So now they've got to be mechanically fixed, and that's just so that they physically can't blow away in the wind, which is a good idea really, but as we're only doing a repair, we don't need to get involved in it. Last bit of lead to point up. Right everyone, we are done. Washed all the gully out. All the ridges are on. Lead's looking good. He's had no leaks because we had a massive storm yesterday, which is obviously the main thing. So yeah, if you like the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.